Hey everyone, and welcome back to News to the Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And good afternoon to all of you, and happy Memorial Day. Now, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Before diving into today's video, I want to take a moment to thank everyone for their engagement with my last video. Whether your feedback was positive or negative, like whether you subscribed or unsubscribed, I really truly appreciate your participation in it. Honestly, I really do. I'm thrilled to share that my last video is performing really well and receiving mostly positive feedback. As you can see right here, it's not a bad ratio. 122 likes over 16 dislikes, which definitely I can appreciate, and a lot of comments, which honestly, I love the engagement. And here on my channel, I welcome all opinions and comments, and everyone is free to pretty much share their thoughts without the fear of being blocked or, silenced. However, please be advised or be prepared for responses that you may or may not like or agree with. And criticism is always welcomed here. And there will be plenty of videos like this one coming really soon, so definitely stay tuned. And with that note, I want to go ahead and tackle this right here. So the alleged first look at Suicide Squad killed the Justice League Mrs. Freeze, accused of promoting transgenderism. This is the kind of stuff that I was talking about, and this is the kind of stuff I was talking about in my last video, where all this stuff, the LGBTQ, the transgenderism, the social justice, political stuff, being implemented in our games is really affecting our gaming community. It's really taking a toll on the gaming community. It's also even like stagnating the creativity of like these game developers, honestly, because they're implementing a lot of realistic expectations into these games. We can no longer live in a fantasy, and that is just pretty much escaping realism, the real world, and playing someone else's narrative, playing a character's journey. Like, who cares if a character looks realistic or not? Because it's a video game, and you would say the same thing about a comic book or a movie, because they're fantasies, they're stories. Why do these games have to accommodate that of just social groups, like weird social groups, honestly? Like, I really can't stand it anymore. So here's the alleged first look.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready!
At the Suicide Squad killed Justice League upcoming new character, Mrs. Freeze, and is being accused of promoting transgenderism. The alleged first look was shared to the subreddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors, and here it is. You got the total Karen haircut with the pink glasses, all blue. Well, that's because she's cold and Mrs. Freeze. And the body itself and the shape is ambiguously, you can't tell if it's a male. It's just ambiguous, or, you can't tell if it's a female or a male. It's completely ambiguous the way the body is shaped. It's just really bizarre. Ex-user Mangaloya reacted to the first look on Rocksteady. The developers of Suicide Squad killed the Justice League transformed Mrs. Freeze into a non-binary Karen, they, them. This is wild. This needs to stop. To Rocksteady, you guys are not doing so well. And I even made a video about this a couple of years ago, talking about how the game was DOA. And yes, it's in the title, and I still stand by that opinion that I had at the time. But that opinion came to fruition because the game is failing. The game failed. It's a flop. I mean, look at this chart right here. The Steam chart shows that there's 460 players playing right now, and it only peaked at 500 players. That's pathetic. This is an awful game. With the fact that this game requires you to be online and to play is bad enough. But from character designs to combat to playing, like, it's just bad all around. Now, I won't fault you for liking the game. If you like the game, good on you. More power to you. And I hope you're enjoying the game. I really do. I really hope those $70 are worth it. And whatever it is additional they have to pay for to get any DLCs or any whatever in-game purchases that you have to do, I hope it's worth it for you. But this is just sad. In a subsequent post under the user added, I predicted this before the game's release, and the backlash was intense. They perceive femininity and female anatomy as threats to society. Now, they've made a character transgender. Take note of Mrs. Freeze's chest. That's not a woman. I would say, who cares about the design? But it's become so apparent that we have to address it. I mean, you can't say that this is a coincidence, right? With games like Marvel Spider-Man 2 and some other various games that's come out, like even the Lara Croft Tomb Raider games, there's been this ambiguous look on the female anatomy. And I say that because you can't really tell if a woman is a woman or a man is a man anymore. They just want to apply like this realistic look to these characters. Characters are fantasy, characters are fiction, and we don't want that. Now, if you take a look here, and I'm going to direct you to a tweet right over here, how Rocksteady like made these characters to be from the past to now, you can see that there's a staggering difference. Here, Harley Quinn looks like a very attractive young woman, from like the chest area to the arms to the skin to like even the face, and even here as well. You know, you got that corset tight look, that slim and slender body look, and then here it's like, what is this? Poofy, wide, square jaw cheeks, completely concealing the rest of the entire body. Is the attractive female anatomy really that much of a threat to society? Like, honestly, like, it's right there. It's apparent as it can be. With the recent release of Season 1 and 2 update, players spotted a tease for Mrs. Freeze. X-user Arkham Video showed a portion of the map that this is a frozen over, and inside that reads, "Ho ho frozen chicken bites." And that's the latest right here. And I'll play the clip right here so you can watch it. It's only 15 seconds. Ho ho frozen chicken bites. Anyway, Freeze has previously hinted at the Reddit user Zeronita Plays shared a video of Brainiac referring to Harley Quinn as player as Freeze. No, so we don't get Mr. Freeze, right? We get Mrs. Freeze. He wrote, saw this making the rounds today. Yeah, it seems like some of Brainiac's incidental comment banter featuring Victoria got missorted and given to Harley by accident. Oops. So it's likely that the manga lawyer's accusation is correct. Back in 2020, while Naughty Dog was about to release The Last of Us Part 2, an alleged seasoned artist informed Sausage Roll that the video game developers were making female characters look like men to placate adherence to transgender ideology. The artist noted, it's not really about the sexual objectification of women. Women, like men, come in all shapes and sizes. To say that having big busty women is unrealistic is true. This insider then added, this is only true for trans people. A trans woman can't naturally grow large breasts. Not all trans people can afford implants. If you see a game where the women are a little less curvy, it's not because the game designers are worried about receiving backlash for sexualizing women. It's because they're worried about offending the trans community.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh no!
Which, by the way, the trans community is significantly small compared to the rest of the population of the world. Honestly, this was never an issue more than a decade ago. I can tell you that right now. Whenever I played a game, I never worried about what a character looked like. I never cared about or fantasized about what a character can do to me. I just want to play a game. I just want to have a good time. I just want to enjoy a good story in a game. And that's it. You know, when I play Spider-Man, for example, I never cared about what Peter Parker looks like. I just want to enjoy swinging around and kicking bad guys' butts. That's it. and have a good story. You know, I want to feel the emotions and everything. That's it. You know, and I just can't help but notice that Mary Jane has been reduced from like this supermodel to like this skinny, no body looking figure. You know, like she doesn't look like a woman. I mean, in the sequel, like the change is more obvious. We have a certain expectations to how characters look like. There's that expectation there. When we think of Mary Jane, we picture a beautiful redhead who's all about embracing femininity, you know, womanhood, that is. When you think about Black Cat, you'd probably imagine the same thing. A very seductive, femme fatale kind of character, right? Attractive as she can be, really. That's what I imagine. It's not really so much about sexualizing a woman or objectifying them in some way. It's about having expectations. You know, it's iconography. It's, you know, the character is so iconic at this point that you would expect them to appear as they were portrayed 40, 50, even 60 years ago. You can say the same thing about Superman or Batman. When you think about Superman and Batman, you'd imagine a very masculine, tall, muscular man, and to a lot of women out there, that's very attractive, right? It's not about sexualizing them. It's just that we already have an image about what they look like in our heads already, that we have that expectation set. So can you imagine putting a very frail man in the part of Superman? So this section right here brings me back to one of my talking points. On top of these comments, YouTuber Yellow Flash, which I'm subscribed to and I do watch his videos, revealed that he heard similar information from inside sources. He stated that it was done to be ambiguous, like I mentioned before. This ambiguous look that they're applying to every female that's appearing in video games of recent times has this ambiguous look for us not to give the male gaze to these female characters to make everybody feel okay and included. They're purposely trying to walk a line here so they don't offend queer people. That's what I was told. Now take that with a grain of salt. Again, seems plausible. People getting offended based on what somebody looks like. Imagine existing and you just so happen to look extremely attractive because you exist that way and you offend somebody. Something that's a little bit beyond your control, which is basically naturally being attractive. You offend someone.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh no!
What do you do then? How do you respond to that, right? So this design for Miss Freeze is unlikely to help the game's ailing financial status. Warner Brothers Discover revealed its first quarter financial results. They took a $200 million impairment charge on the game. The company CFO Gunnar Whitfield stated, starting with the studios, the $400 million plus year-over-year decline during quarter one was primarily due to the very tough comp we faced in games against the success of Hogwarts Legacy last year in the first quarter. I'm hearing excuse. That's what I'm hearing right now. In conjunction with the disappointing Suicide Squad release this past quarter, which we impaired, leading to a $200 million impact to EBITDA during the first quarter. Given the game is a financial loser, it's not surprising that its player base has fallen off a cliff. The game had an all-time concurrent peak of 13,459 when the game released in early February. However, by the end of the month, the concurrent peak was less than 600. It was able to bring some players back when the first release its first season update with a playable Joker. Concurrent players hit 3,042 on March 28th. However, throughout much of April and May, the peak concurrent never got over 300. With the game's most recent update, it did manage to have a peak concurrent barely over 500. But clearly this game is not healthy and players have mostly abandoned it. And it deserves it, honestly. With like its story being about maybe 5 hours or 6 hours or so, lazy game design, horrible derivative gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. And overall, this game just doesn't look appealing whatsoever. It deserves it. Rocksteady has been on this decline. They were on top of the world, when it comes to game design and game quality. What happened? They went from making peak Arkham games, from Batman Arkham games, to making garbage. Just terrible dog water overall. But what are your thoughts about this Mrs. Freeze design? I mean, what has gaming become? What got us to this point? It's because of these crazy activists out there who are threatening game developing studios. Hey, you better do this or else we'll do this and this and this. I don't know if anybody with eyes out there can, if you can't see that companies like this are literally bending the knee just to please woke, crazy people like this for the sake of pleasing them so they can shut up. Let me tell you something. They're never going to stop. They're going to go after everything. They're already going after our entertainment, our media, our games, our books. They're going to go after everything. They're never going to stop and they're never going to be pleased. And that is the truth. You need to wake up. This is just sad and pathetic. And I'm glad I didn't waste my $70 on this game. I am so glad. Anyway, you let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. And yeah. I hope you took everything I said into account at the very beginning of this video. Yeah, Suicide Squad is a failure, and this is just not going to make it any better. As always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, click on the bell notification so you all don't miss anything, and I'll see you all in the next comic panel.